بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. My dear brothers and sisters, السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. كل من عليها فان ويبقى وجه ربك ذو الجلال والإكرام. كل نفس ذائقة الموت ثم إلينا ترجعون. I'll speak about the Abdul Hamid I knew for 52 years. I like to tell stories. No wonder 1/3 of the Quran is about stories because they are very impactful. In 1969, April, I attended an MSA regional conference in the East Coast in New York State. And in Salat al-Maghrib, when we finished, I turned to my right and I said, my brother, my name is Hisham Al Talib from Iraq. He said, my name is Abdul Hamid Abusulayman from Mecca. Then he said, what are you doing now? I said, I am a guest speaker at the Association of Muslim Scientists and Engineers. He said, what will you speak about? I said that my topic is reforming the ills and the diseases of the Muslim Ummah. And he said, okay, what? So I said, I am going to say that once we establish a Muslim government, a true Muslim government, the whole problems of the world will be solved. He said, how? I said, by teaching true Islam. He said, well, you know, governments don't make civilizations, don't make revivals, don't make progress. It is education, education, and education. Iqra, iqra, and iqra. And then we talked about it a few minutes. Then he really, that meeting was a determining point in my paradigm of reform. And I always cherish that few minutes with him because it really changed my compass in life. The second episode, few months later, in December 1969, Dr. Jamal and I drove from Cincinnati, Ohio to Pennsylvania, to the house of Abdul Hamid, invited by Dr. Ahmed Tutinchi, also studying in Pennsylvania. And we drove through the snowstorms. It was very tough, but alhamdulillah, we made it. And we stayed with Abdul Hamid in his house and his family for 3 days. And then at the end of the meeting, Jamal and I looked at ourselves. We said, look here, you know, in England for 4 years, we studied there and we were going touring Britain, south, north, east, west, telling people Islam has the solution for everything. In economics, just have no interest, just have sadaqah and zakah, and all the problems are solved and so on. So we used to teach our brothers and colleagues all the time. Then we said, now we found a man who can teach us. That is Abdul Hamid Abusulayman. The third important episode was in April 1971. After the executive committee of the MSA in Jami' Al-Amin, في Gary, Indiana, Jamal, myself, and Ahmed sat in my house at Purdue University in Lafayette, Indiana, looking at the present situation of the Ummah and the community in America, and particularly the MSA of the United States and Canada. And we said, where do we go from here? What should we do? What are the emphasis? What are the objectives? Long-term, short-term, medium-term, all this thing. Then we said, we are all engineers. Let us call somebody who is like a social scientist, a specialist with the experience and wisdom to be with us and to discuss this issue for 1 week. So I called Abdul Hamid on a long distance call. At that time, it was expensive from Lafayette to Pennsylvania. I told Abdul Hamid, please come. We are here, 3 of us. We want to discuss this issue with you. He said, look here, I come only, are you serious? I said, yeah, we're very serious. Otherwise, I didn't call you on long distance call, pay all this money. He said, I come on one condition. Okay, what is it? He said, if we sit down and agree on a plan, are we willing to sacrifice our life, our families, our careers, our whatever we are doing? Are we going to dedicate all this for any plan that we agree on? If we don't agree, everybody goes his way, no problem. But if we agree are we committed? He said, oh, I said, of course, that's why we are calling you. And he came. Now, the major outcome of that meeting was that for the Muslim community and the MSA to exist and flourish in the United States and Canada, we have 4 necessary and sufficient conditions. The first one is that we must have total, complete financial independence from any government or party. The second one is to have a presence in the media so that Muslims will speak about themselves rather than others will speak about Muslims. Then the third thing we said, because of the fast progress and achievements of this great organization of the MSA, we need to adopt and practice the state-of-the-art of management and administration in America. Finally, he said, he added, and we have to have reform and renewal of Islamic thought, because Quran is good for all time and places. And to be that, we have to put the factors of time and place in our interpretation and understanding of the Quran. My brothers and sisters, I want to tell you a secret, and that is, it is this meeting that was the seed to establish Association of Muslim Social Scientists and later on the IIIT. It was this reformation and renewal of the Islamic thought that Abdul Hamid believed that without this, there will be no long future for viable Islam to exist anywhere in the world. So we have to do this, and that was the kernel of the establishment of IIIT. Now, another story that I tell about Abdul Hamid, that is in April 1972, I was invited by the West Coast regional representative of the MSA in the conference there in Utah, Salt Lake City, to speak about secularism. So I said, I am only an electrical engineer. What is my practice? What is my knowledge of secularism? All I know is some secularism, horrible secularism in Iraq and the Muslim countries, which is thought of and taught as practice as fighting religion instead of giving it independence. So I said, very little knowledge I have, shallow, of secularism in the West, and particularly in America and England. So I said, I called Abdul Hamid, again, long distance from Lafayette. I said, brother, I'm going to speak about this topic. Can you please give me your ideas? He said, sure. Then we talked about 5 minutes. I listened to him. He said, I said, brother Abdul Hamid, I understand. He said, no, you do not understand. You have to listen and you have to write the notes so that, then you understand. I said, yes, sir. And it took us 1 hour. I wrote all the notes. Then, alhamdulillah, I delivered all the ideas, just like Brother An was saying here, all the ideas of Abdul Hamid that I adopted, digested, and then could reproduce in a practical, my own way. Now, I told you the seed of the IIIT was planted in Purdue University, 1971. But now we said, okay, we don't know how to do that reformation and renewal of Islamic thought. And if you don't know, stop and ask. That's what Quran says. فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Ask the people of knowledge if you know not. So in July 1977, we called for a seminar in Lugano, Switzerland, where we invited about 30 scholars from all the world to discuss and come up with this idea of IIIT, which was later on in 1980, officially, it was established by Marhum Farouqi Rahmatullah Alayh and Dr. Jamal Barzinchi and Abdul Hamid Abusulayman in Philadelphia. They registered this IIIT there. Another thing I will mention is that in 2017, Brother Abdul Hamid was visiting Cairo. I think that was his last visit, Allahu Alam. And he was discussing with all the scholars there and the brothers of IIIT in Cairo, in Egypt. And they were talking about education, Islamic schools, international Islamic schools that were the baby of Tawfiq al-Shawi and Mahmoud al-Shawi, his brother, Allah yarhamu, and so on. So he came directly from Cairo to Jeddah and to Makkah, and then we had a meeting, myself, Dr. Ahmed Tutunji, Dr. Amr Kasuli, and Abdul Hamid, and a few others in the hotel. The first time he saw me, we sat down before even drinking coffee or tea. He said, Hisham, I brought you a challenge, a heavy responsibility. I want to give you the key of education reform that the IIIT should focus and build its future on this call. Just like Brother Anwar, you just heard him, the emphasis and the passion of Abdul Hamid Abusulayman about education. And the way we understood education, that's how our book came out. It was 3 phases: the parenting from birth, then K to 12, the second phase, and the third phase is higher education. So that was really the major encounters with Brother Abdul Hamid. Now, all of you know that we are a team, of course. We are a team of founders of 7 people. Abdul Hamid Abusulayman, Al Faruqi, Rahmatullah, and Taha Jabir, all of them passed away, Rahmatullah alayhim, and Jamal. And now we have left Ahmed Tutinchi, Anwar Ibrahim, and Hisham Al Talib. The first 3 were actually the visionaries. They were the people who put the vision, they were the experts. And the last 4 were actually the people who practiced and managed the mission of those people. Brothers, I want to know, do I have more time, or because I was told only like 10, 11 minutes? Brothers? Hello? Hello?
Hello, please proceed. Yeah, please proceed.
Okay. Then in this case, I'll just say about this team, because most of you, most of the world know Faruqi very well through his publication and scholarship and so on. And they know Abdul Hamid, but to a less extent. But I want to tell you one thing. It was Abdul Hamid in the group who was the dynamo to push for these establishing institutions of thought and philosophy and social science and human sciences. He was behind the establishment of the AMSS, Association of Muslim Social Scientists, and the IIIT, and several other things. So he was the dynamo of all this. Like Brother Ahmed Tutinchi always says, 1 + 1, if you put 1 and 1, you don't say 2, you say 11. If you put 1 and 1 and 1, you say 111, and so on. So if you put 7 ones, just imagine how all this product of that we can see the achievement of Abdul and his dreams, and with all the founders, you can see the astronomical influence that they have on themselves and on the world. I call Abdul Hamid Al-Alim Al-Hakim, knowledgeable but endowed with wisdom only. I will stop here with just two incidents that tell you the effect and the impact of Abdul Hamid. One about Al Faruqi and one about myself personally. About Al Faruqi, as you know, the highest level of scholarship of Al Faruqi all his life, he was really brought up in this total secular education, the best of it. And he told me that it was in the house of Abdul Hamid, because he was the president of the local chapter of the MSA, Dr. Abdul Hamid, in the University of Pennsylvania. He used to invite the members of the organization and Faruqi also. So Faruqi told me personally that it is there in his house that I really tasted Islam. I really found practical Islam. Seeing a group of brothers, like 15, 20, okay, cooking, washing, eating, praying, sleeping on the floor, studying Quran and Hadith and all this. So that brought me the real taste of practical Islam. Finally, from my own wife, just to tell you how impactful Abdul Hamid was on me personally, as a teacher and as a mentor and as a guide. You know, my wife Ilham tells me that she is a medical doctor, and she tells me things about medicine and habits and nutrition and so on. But then Abdul Hamid also tells me similar things. She tells me, Hisham, why is it when I tell you something in my own area, you don't follow. But when Abdul Hamid tells you something in the same area, which is not his specialty, you follow him. So that is, just to summarize, that is the impact of Abdul Hamid on Al-Faruqi, myself, and many, as you all know, testify. And as you heard, the brilliant presentation of Brother Anwar Ibrahim. I have no more time. I already took more than was allotted to me. But all we say is, Rahmatullahi alayhim shuhada. All of them, they passed away, and we pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we meet them in the day of judgment in Al-Firdaus Al-A'la. Wassalamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu fi amanillah. I may have to leave soon because I have other engagement. Thank you for all those who invited me. May Allah bless you all and the family of Abdul Hamid Abusulayman.